You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics, advanced training for the precision shooter. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. I'm sitting in the middle of a paddock with two blokes from NT Practical Rifle, Butters and Bear. How are you, gentlemen?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Rusty. How are you?
Good. That was Bear first and Butters.
Yeah,
you doing
good.
well?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate.
Excellent. Just so we can tell the voices apart for the listeners. So we are literally sitting by a campfire and we've managed to make all this podcast stuff work. Now, you guys are on a bit of a road trip down from Darwin to visit everything. I think when you told me what you're doing, you're pretty much covering half of Australia.
Yeah, it was a bit of an idea. We'd both been up in NT a bit long. I've only just got back from overseas, and we thought that why not do a bit of a running trip. We've got that Vic Prac shoot down on the 26th, and thought why not make it coincide with that. So
yeah, brilliant.
As we currently are, we're down in Adelaide now, but yeah, started in Darwin on last Thursday and got down there, Friday evening.
Yep.
Caught up with a couple of people so far, and yeah, the plan is to catch up with more people ahead. We're out here to see if we can stretch the legs on a couple of 338s and see what we can do.
Absolutely. So yeah, we've got a bit of a day planned tomorrow to have a bit of a crack and see if we can't try and push these things out. So tell us about new guns, because I know recently you got new guns or new barrels or new bits and pieces.
I think I'll let Bear start on this one. He's got the most interesting stuff.
Okay, so
off you go.
Yeah, so like most my age, I grew up as the Counter-Strike generation, and we all know that the best rifle in that was the 338, and it was always one of those calibers you always wanted, but you never thought you could afford. So I just went overseas and got a lot of disposable income, and I was speaking to Jason Hillier at Adja and asked him, what's the go with getting an AWSM, and he said, hey, we've just got a couple coming in. If you want to put your name down to one, I said, oh yeah, we'll do.
Nice.
Put some money down on that, and then had to wait, 6 months to get back to actually fire the bloody thing.
Yeah, right. So it's been sitting there waiting for you for a while.
Yeah, Jason held it. Since January until I got back, and
right.
And then he sent it up, and we put it all together, and away we went.
And away you go. Yeah,
and that was my second AI. The first one I got was I got an AT off Danny down at DTAC in late 2014.
Yep.
In 308, and it was one of those rifles that if I don't buy it now, I'm never going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
It was an upgrade on a Steyr Elite I had. Which I thought I reached the limit as what I could do with that rifle. So bought the AT and shown it to my good mate Butters over there, and I think he got smitten. And
you guys seem to be all sort of AI sort of stuff going on in NT. What's happening up there? Is it you got too much money? Is that the issue?
I wish.
If you're not spending it on booze, you're spending it on guns and ammo.
Yeah,
so I suppose.
No, good call. Good call. And so you're running the AX.
Yeah.
I think we covered this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, I got the AX pretty much because I like Bear's AT so much, and just went from there. And I just wanted to go the one platform. I didn't want to have to fork out for 3 different scopes, so I just got the AX, and just recently got the other couple of caliber conversions. So I got the 308 that arrived in the last couple of weeks, and the 338 last week.
And how they going?
Yeah.
Is that a sore point? Is it? How's the 308 going?
No, it shoots.
No.
It goes straight.
Okay.
Goes forwards.
Still goes straight?
I've only shot 10 rounds through that so far.
Okay.
So it's all right. It's shooting. I just got to tailor it a bit. But the 338 was a bit of an issue.
Yeah, right. Tell us about that.
Oh.
Or if you're willing to admit to it.
No, I'm willing, because when I first got the barrel, I had some issues loading for it. I couldn't get the seating depth in far enough to fit the mag, because I'm using the 300 grain burgers.
Yep.
And anyway, I got them in far enough for the magazine length, and I went out to the range and I shot the 300 Win mag out of it, and zeroed that in. So because I just finished the. I think I just finished the NT Queen, so I just wanted to re-zero it, make sure I knew where it was shooting.
Oh, congratulations on the NT Queens as well, mate.
Coming last.
Coming last?
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Fourth and last.
Don't kid yourself, mate.
No,
like
there wasn't much in us. No, I think there was 10 points between first and me.
Yep.
So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But, finished that. So I went and zeroed the 300 Win Mag barrel, got that shooting perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Switched out the barrels to the 338, and the first thing I got was a shot 1.5 mil low. Windage was good, but elevation low. I thought, what's going on here? Anyway, I figured out it was just point of impact change.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried to shoot a couple of groups. Started off with some real low power stuff.
Yep.
And it shot 1.5 minutes, and I thought, maybe just wearing it in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And as I went along, it got worse and worse. I thought, what the friggin' hell's going on here? Anyway, so I went home, rethought about it, went back out the next day with a few loads, and put my target out at 200 metres and started shooting 5-inch groups. So I threw the towel in.
It's pretty entertaining imagery you sent.
Wasn't pretty. And anyway, today I tested it again with the same loads, and it seemed to be a lot more consistent today. At 200, it was shooting more like 1 inch.
Well, you're shooting SA, mate. It's much better.
It's half the temperature.
Freaking ha.
So it shot better at 200 metres, and then I'll put it out to 700 metres, and my drop data was wrong, which I thought you got to calibrate it anyway.
Yeah,
anyway,
sure.
I was a mil high, so I'll adjust, and then I went and put however many shots are in the one spot on this target, and that was with different loads.
Yep.
Different grains of powder in the cartridge, and they still shot quite well. So
yeah, right. Well, hopefully we can tidy that up tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully.
Very good. And how'd your 338 go, Bear?
Yeah, so when I first got it, so when I was overseas, I was with working with the Brits, and obviously they've got the AWSM in their inventory. There's the 115A3, and got friendly with a couple of the sniper qual guys over there, and actually got their doctrine, which encompasses the rifle and its ammunition, and basically, even though the British use a 250 grain Lapua lock base, but heard better things about the CNRs, so I ordered the CNRs, but I pretty much just seeded them to the exact length of the Brit rifle. I tried the old habit of using the fired casing and pushing in one side and trying to get the land length out of it that way. But didn't have much luck doing that, about 3 times.
Yeah, okay.
So just went straight off the the standard round they used, their issued rounds, and loaded it to that length. Similar charge. The Brits have a bit of a high power load in theirs. They usually try and get about 930 out the muzzle. Old meters a second out the muzzle, and I with my chrono I was measuring 910. I thought that was close enough. And I was getting pretty good groups. I think we got
more than pretty good groups. Or one hole at 200 meters.
Yeah,
that's pretty good group.
Yeah.
And then it was like the furthest it shot before we came down, and we were shooting with Mark today was only 500, and that was the 500 meter small gong at Darwin SSAA. Top left edge, put 3 shots on the same splash mark. I'm like, maybe that's done, buddy.
Yep, all over it.
Load development finished.
Done.
Yeah, so then I've got everything set, and I'll just keep playing with that, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice. And was Butters fuming, sitting there looking at you, get it nailing it first round?
I was flipping tables.
Yeah, I would have been.
He didn't even have his barrels yet. Or...
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was very jealous until my barrel arrived last week.
Yeah, and then very disappointed.
Yeah, pretty much.
It'll all change, mate. You'll get there.
Yeah,
that'll be good.
Challenges.
Very good. Now, you guys have announced a pretty decent sized shoot in October. Can you tell us about that? That's the finale.
Yeah, so we've had I think we've got five sort of standard shoots throughout the year, just on a Sunday morning.
Yep.
Just for mainly the locals up there. And we've been getting all right numbers, and what we thought, certainly after we come down for the PRI 2 months ago, I thought it wouldn't be great if we could just hold something on over 2 days and get as many people from interstate up as we can. Make it something worthwhile for blokes to come up for.
Destination shoot.
We had the idea for a while, and then we had drafts written up and
pitched it to the committee.
Pretty much, yeah. We put it to the committee last week, and they said they loved it and say, yeah, definitely go for it.
Wonderful.
Let's have it happening.
It's great to get good support from your range.
Yeah,
it's really good.
They've been fantastic. Especially they did fork out for targets for us, and we're not an official discipline yet. We're just shooting under some other discipline rules.
Yep.
And so we've got to make a proper discipline out of it with them, just so funding and that will be a bit easier. But no, they've been really good, especially our range warden there. He's been really good. He's all for it.
Wonderful.
And yeah, a lot of interest. Even though not a whole heap of people have been coming, but a lot of people have been saying, when's your next one sort of thing.
Good.
Yeah, and usually when they say, when's your next one, they will come along.
Yeah, that's good, mate. That's the numbers have been growing, or the interest have been growing, hasn't it? Yeah,
so I think we started off pretty well.
What was the first shoot when end of last year? I think it was
middle
me,
last
yourself,
year.
John, and Casey. And that was it.
That was because we were slack as buggery, bloody putting out advertisement for it.
No, they wouldn't let me put it up on base.
Yeah.
But so we've got this 2-day event on the 1st and 2nd of October.
Yep.
It's all locked in. We've got...
That's a Saturday, Sunday, I take it?
Yeah, and I believe it's long weekend for some states.
Yeah, definitely for SA, and some other states probably. I think New South Wales, but anyway, I haven't checked that out. Yeah, so make it worthwhile.
Definitely, and so like we said, it'll be very similar to the PRI. There'll be morning stage, afternoon stage on the Saturday, and then a morning stage on the Sunday, and then we'll probably wrap things up.
Yep,
Sunday afternoon.
Especially those that have to, maybe start making tracks back down south if that's where they came from.
Airports or driving if they're inclined that way.
Sounding like another bus trip from SA.
Yeah, bloody oath.
If this Vic one goes well, maybe we'll do that. I don't know. We'll see what interest we get.
Yeah,
It'll
definitely.
be good fun. Yeah, and so have you got much planned for it? You're not allowed to say yet, because I've heard the word slinky mentioned, and I was looking for an explanation on that.
Slinky,
I'm looking over at Bear for that.
Yeah, we'll let Bear explain the slinky. We don't know if it's going to be in or not, but it's scary.
Yeah, so slinky started off as when we did AK qual overseas. One of the things that the Jundis over there tend to do is they fire their gats over their heads and at an oblique angle, or scorpion tails, depending on which school of thought you're from. And one of the ideas I had when I was watching some guys shooting that was, if you shot precision rifle at the slant, you're going to be counteracting both your already dialed elevation, but then your windage then becomes your elevation. It becomes a bit of a mental exercise, and I'd been trying to come up with some stages to throw back to Butters back in Australia at the time, thinking, what can we do to drum up some interest?
I think mess with people was the...
Yeah, but and then I was like, if you're firing a side, you figure that out. But then, wait a minute, then what if I 180 it? And we already had a staircase barricade, so the idea was...
cross barricade.
Cross barricade, sorry, yep. So basically you go down a set of stairs and back up, and I was just like playing with the idea of like, the gat starts horizontal, then flips up 180, rolling down the staircase. I'm like, like a slinky, and then gets to the bottom and it starts to go back up the top, and then you're thinking, well, that's pretty dreadful. I think that's about as worse as it's going to get. So I don't know if we hold that in reserve as a tiebreaker, or if we try and run that maybe as a not scored, but just see how you go. Bit of a time trial, see how many people get caught out for getting to reverse their is now their windage, what was their elevation, and see how that one goes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because I think you were testing a bit of that lately, haven't you?
Well, yeah,
I saw some pictures. Yeah,
I've been trying that, and which we would have covered in one of the previous podcasts, and it's certainly it's able to be calculated, and
it's not
can
as
be shot.
It's not as scary as it sounds. Once you know where it's
going to go,
where the point of impact difference is, it's going to be consistent downrange.
There was a mob that had a program that figured it out, wasn't there? I think I saw something a few weeks ago, a mob that they were shooting with like a DTA on a slant, and they
didn't give much information into it though.
Okay.
Yeah, right. No, it's quite predictable. I mean, I only did it on the left-hand side, but it would be then the reverse details on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and that's what's like designed to trap the bloke out. But
make him think.
Yeah. Hopefully, it will never have to be used in anger, but we'll see how it goes.
I think tiebreaker is probably not a bad way to use it.
Payback.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a bit of a fan of tiebreakers, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I am.
Went well for you. Yeah, very good.
Lucky you picked a good stage.
So we go. You guys, we're down here at the Impact Dynamics now, long range place, and so then you're going from here over to Melbourne, eventually ending up for the shoot out there.
Yeah, so we're going to go, the end of the week, we're going to go spend some time with Bear's family and see them all down there and do a bit of spotlighting.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously on the weekend, we're going to go visit Jared with the Castlemaine mob and see how we go there. Sort of support him a little bit.
So you've been doing any practice for?
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
Awesome. Sounds well prepared.
That's what the rest of the week's for.
Yeah, good. Have you tried Hawkins' position?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, not with the AT.
Yeah, I don't think Bear is. Hawkins, I find, just probably the most stable, unsupported position you can do. And with our just regular sort of Anzac Day or Australia Day shoots with our SSAA.
Oh, yeah.
What we'll do is 5 shot standing, 5 kneeling or sitting, and then 5 prone. They don't tell me I can't do the Hawkins. So I go in the Hawkins at 200 metres, I put 5 bullseyes down and...
Yeah, talk it up, bull.
Yep, good. Is that true, Butters? Or, you're doing it? That's right.
It probably is. He's a poaching prick.
No,
I'm sure you're aware, Rusty. Comes down here,
true.
steals all the trophies.
All the trophies, and then
I said, 5 bullseyes in Hawkins. I didn't say I hit the target for the standing or the kneeling.
Left out the appropriate details. Yeah, nice, very good. So I guess in the last podcast we caught up with your history, Butters, and shooting. So if anyone's interested in that, they can go back. But Bear, we haven't spoken to you yet. How did you end up shooting precision or practical rifle? Where'd that all come from?
Well, I grew up on a farm down South Gippsland, and Dad was always into hunting sort of thing. So at quite early age, pulled out to go out shooting with him and his friends and older brother. Normally just sitting in the passenger seat at a young age, and then until finally, here's your chance, given the 22, try and plink off some rabbits. So I always sort of grew up and went into hunting and, went chasing foxes, the odd kangaroo when you could, pigs up in Cobar a couple of times,
Yep.
And then I think, Dad and my brother were really big on field and game, shotgun shooting. I got pulled into that pretty much as soon as I could get my license. As soon as I could get my license, was out there shooting clays, and that pretty much became my monthly shooting. Was go up to local field and game club, shoot 2 rounds of clays a month, and that was like all the shooting I ended up doing, mostly through school.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like most, when Magpul released that Art of the Precision Rifle, sort of stumbled across that just on the net and thought, what's this about? I had a 308, I had a Star Elite and 308 that mainly I was just using for as a hunting rifle. It was a bit heavy, but it was a good accurate rifle. And I watched the Magpul blokes sitting there hitting steel at long range and getting that nice reactive thud at the other end, and that's a lot like you go out and you shoot that big buck, and you're like, this could be a lot easier than trudging around the mountains trying to find something to shoot. And where I was working at the time, there was a lot of old mild steel just hanging around, and I was asking the boss, do you want this, do you want that? And he's like, no, you can take this, you can take that. So quite quickly amassed a lot of steel plate, and obviously started shooting a lot more and started amassing a lot of brass, and I was like, oh god, now I've got to start really loading because I'm going through that much ammo. So you drop money on a press and you start finding loads that the rifle likes, and then you load bulk rounds, and then you start shooting the targets heaps, and then the targets start wearing down, and you're like, oh crap, now what can I do for targets? And you look into it and it's like, oh yeah, people are talking about this BizPlate 500, and so then it was through work, get onto one steel, can you guys cut me up some BizPlate 500? Like, oh yeah, you can even cut me some eyelets in it. And next minute I got these reactive gongs all over the farm like weeds, and like telling the brother, cows on the left side of the farm today, I'm shooting down the right. And he's like, all right, yep, fair enough. And started shooting down it, and it just became sort of something for fun. Get the mate's friend out there, or mate and his brother and all that come out, and they'd bring their rifles, see how they go. And Normally he's like, yeah, I'm there trying to read the wind and dial the windage, and yep, here we go, buddy, bang, expensive noise, try again, and and then it'd be me mate Ryan, he'd be like, yep, got the old, was an A-bolt stalker with, what do you have, it was like a 3-9 Leopold, just fine duplex, and he'd be like, yeah, about there will do, bang, ping, like, get off my range, pissing me off, and he's a good bloke, and and his brother Dwayne, he had a 243, and we, always give him crap over that because we were the 308 boys, and he was the 243, real loud and leaving really nasty marks on the steel, but it was all fun and games, just trying to learn, the difference between the calibers, and then when I joined the army, it was everything sort of got in the hole. Oh, join the army, get to shoot lots, and I shoot more outside the army these days than I do in, and then went through training and was sort of not expecting to get posted to Darwin. It was a bit one of like, what am I going to do here? And for the first year, I left my firearms down in Victoria on the farm, and during that time I met Butters over here, and went down to the Darwin Rifle Club a couple of times, saw him there shooting F-class. Saw it, didn't quite think that was for me, not a big paper puncher. After growing up hunting, that's where I thought the appeal in steel was getting that instant feedback from the targets. And I think I sort of dragged him back over a bit to the SSAA range because we had the steel gongs there, and
cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, and I'm sure
continues to.
I'm sure Cass is real happy with me over that. And it was about that time when it's like, we're going to the SSAA a bit, and maybe it's about time to trade the Steyr in. I'd put a few rounds through it, but felt it wasn't the best rifle for wanting to do a lot of long range work with. Like handy enough rifle in the scrub and good to about 400 or 500 meters. But after that, it was probably a combination of me and just not knowing the gun that well. But I found it real hard to get a hit past 600 meters with it, and got the AT, and tried to reinvent myself with that, and put a new scope on it, and it sort of got to the point where I've got this rifle with X scope. There's literally nothing I can blame but myself. So I've really got to knuckle down and try and hit steel now. So, and then it's just progressed from that. Me and Butters would go at the range. I brought my firearms up at the end of 2014, and we'd go to the range like most weekends. We're just sitting there shooting at SSAA range, and it's it's quite enjoyable. And then you start seeing like the PRS in the States, and start thinking it'd be good if we could do something like that over here. And what was just a spitball sort of turned into a landslide. Butters really started. We should really do this, and I was like, okay, I'll be there for
dragged him into it.
I'll be there for moral support. And
sounds like he hates it, mate.
Should kick him out.
Yeah, that's it. Can't really stand it.
I get my weekends back.
Oh, very good, mate. Well, that's not an uncommon story to hear, is it? You guys have sort of just been growing up on farms or been around it and shooting and hunting, and then sort of have ended up sort of getting into this rifle. It's really this practical rifle sort of stuff. It's really good to see, and what you guys are doing is excellent up there.
Yeah, I reckon that'll get a lot of new blokes into it. Like I know one bloke that started with us at work last year. I said, come out and have a shot with us. So there you go, and he loved it. Come out and had a shot with Bear, myself, and another fella, and we just went to the DRC range and had a target up, and we just went back and had a shot at each range, and he was loving it. And he's currently trying to figure out what type of rifle to buy now to shoot the practical rifle.
Well, surely if he lives in Darwin, he has to buy an AI. That seems to be the...
No, he goes on too many holidays.
Oh, righto. Okay.
Yeah, he's
got commitments.
Right, so Ruger American or something.
Yeah,
good. Excellent. We might take a break and stoke this fire up because I'm getting cold here. So we'll do that, and we'll be back. All right, so we've stoked the fire, and Bear's broken one of the chairs, so we're off to an absolute ripper. Nice to be warm again. So I was going to ask you guys about your new guns. Now, have you done anything in terms of breaking Well done, Bear.
Nice.
Yes.
If you put a drink down on top of this table, it makes a good old noise, and that's just what we got. So anyway, we'll. I was going to ask you guys: have you broken your rifles in at all?
Not at all.
No. And any reason? Or Butters, you same deal?
I started shooting it.
Just got stuck into it.
Haven't cleaned it yet.
No. Wonderful.
Dead set. All we've really done is started shooting it and just used, say, a bore snake through it just to, well, that's what I've done, is just pull a bit of the crap out. And my 300 Win Mag barrels hasn't seen a drop of solvent or anything like that, and it still shoots as good as it started with.
How many rounds roughly you reckon?
550 roughly.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
I think. I've got to count back and see how many boxes of projectiles I've got. That's basically how I've been counting.
That's how you work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, very good. We obviously continuing having that discussion and it's always good to get other opinions and ideas about that process. What about, you got a few going there. Have you broken any of them in, or you've never tried that?
No, I haven't bothered with the AIs. So when I first got the first new rifle I bought was a Star Elite, and when I first got it, I was like, "Yep, sweet." Bought a box, bought like a case of shells, and basically just went up down the paddock and zeroed the bloody thing against a hay bale. I was like, "Yep, that's good enough." And it was actually a mate's dad. He was really pestering me. "Oh, why have you broken a barrel?" And I'm like, "What's breaking a barrel?" And he's like, "You fire a shot, you clean it. You fire a shot, you clean it. You fire a shot, you clean it. You fire 2 shots and you clean it." I'm like, that sounds like
a lot of work.
A lot of work, and a lot of wasted ammo. I'm like, why do I have to keep doing that? And I did a lot of research into everyone's got their opinion. You've got to fire the barrel. It's never going to be accurate. And the farmer's son, you work with metal. Metal gets worn away. Metal's never going to be as good as it was the day before. You constantly rub something against it, it's going to be worn away. Yep. And I sort of felt that barrels, same thing. The barrel's only going to get worse the more you shoot it. And the idea of going through cleaning it was like, this seems a bit odd. And I quite religiously cleaned this rifle. I'd take it out for the night, only fire like 3 or 4 shots. Yep, get it home, scrub it out, and get it ready for the next night. But like most, I guess, you notice that your clean shot is a lot different to after the barrel's been fouled. And I started to notice that too with this Star. I was like, my impact's actually shifting a bit to the right after it's fired. About half a dozen shots, it's become dirty.
Yep.
And then I started putting, well, what if I just don't, actually 0 at 4 fouled, and started playing around with that. I'm like, that seems to be the go, and looked into a number of things, particularly when I got the AI, or when I got the AT. It was like, people were like, you should break in the barrel, and it's like, I don't know, it's a pretty high quality barrel. I'm assuming, I hope they put in this bloody thing, and and I looked into it, and there was, I looked into it again, you had that split divide. You had those 2 camps of thought, must break in a barrel. Other people like not required on certain barrels. Like obviously some cheaper manufacturers may have those machining tools in the barrel that need to be cleaned out, deburred, but something of quality shouldn't need that process. And that's when I started looking into the fouled versus clean debate, where you've interviewed Todd Hodnett. Is that you just keep shooting. One of the videos I watched of him is, he stated he had a 338. He's put 2,000 rounds through. He hasn't cleaned it, and it's still as accurate as when he first sighted it in.
Well, I think that's grown to 4,000 when we spoke to him.
Okay,
yeah, I'm guessing it's probably the same gun he was talking about.
Yeah, it's probably that Seiko he had, that TRG with the folder on it. But
righto. Oh, maybe not. Anyway.
It was. I'm like, here's a reputable bloke saying this. I'm like, well, I'm going to try it myself, sort of thing. So, the AT itself. So, before I left, I don't know what Butters has been doing whilst I was away. But
no one really knows what Butters has been doing.
Yeah,
it's want to know.
Yeah, it's been hoard out. My rifle's done terrible things, and when I had it there, I basically put about 500 rounds through it, and I didn't even clean the bloody thing. I think I put like a light coat of oil on the outside, but
Yep.
maybe ran an oily patch through the barrel just to try and get rid of some of the carbon residue because didn't have any just carbon remover, and I didn't really want to put the Bortec number 9 through it to get rid of all the glorious copper fouling I'd amassed in so far.
All that money you've spent on it. Though.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you're basically just wasting money. You're scrubbing this crap out, but no, it's just been it's been a battle just trying to find some carbon remover, and wasn't until we came down here we actually found some.
Right.
You go up to one of the gun stores in Darwin, like, hey, I need some carbon remover, and people look at you like you're stupid. Like, oh, what do you want? What do you want to just remove the carbon for? You got to get it squeaky clean. I'm like, no, just want to get the carbon out. And it was the same with the AW. I think it's like 133 rounds it's had through it since I've got it, plus whatever they put through it at the factory before it left. But yeah, it's never been cleaned. I think I got it. I put an oily patch through it, then put a couple of dry ones through it until nothing came out, and started firing it, and it's just been like a laser ever since.
Been good.
So yeah, unless I start to see some obvious signs that maybe there's too much fouling built up and the like, I don't expect to actually be doing a scrub on that barrel until the day it dies.
And so, we were talking barrels before, and you mentioned you're looking at getting a proof research barrel, which sparked my interest. Any particular reason?
I thought it looked pretty cool. The length on the AW, for example, it's a 27-inch barrel. Even though it's got flutes cut in it, it's a pretty big piece of kit trying to hold out there in space when you haven't got a bipod on it.
Yep.
And I think it was Butters that actually pointed me into the line of carbon fibre barrels being a bit lighter, and just looking into the savings you could get from a carbon fibre over a traditional steel. And then if you read into the Kool-Aid propaganda about it's X amount much lighter, so if you went for like a 24-inch barrel in carbon fibre, it'd only weigh as much as say like a 21-inch full steel barrel, but you're still getting that increase in velocity retained through the barrel length. But it's just coming down to what it actually want to use it for. So the AT, with its quick change barrel system, is probably going to lean towards a 260 for it. I think we all read one of the articles. It was like, welcome to 2015, say goodbye to your 308. But after today, I think the 308's still going strong. But I'm still be interested to see what I could get out of a 6.5 out of the AT. And of the barrel choices, I'm no rush. I hear there may be a bit of a wait for a proof research barrel, but a lot of the precision rifle groups are following Facebook. A number of the guys there, they've got brand new AXs. They're putting these proof research barrels in them. They seem to be stating they're the bee's knees, and
they're certainly different, isn't it? And
it's just the way it looks. It looks like an unpolished marble nearly when you look at the finish. And if you look at like the Hardy barrel, I believe.
Yeah, Hardy.
Yeah, and it's like the carbon wrap. It looks like some Rice's front end. It's. It may still do the part, but I want it to look pretty too.
may as well while you're shooting, may as well be looking good. Yeah, do what you can. You've just got.
That was the coolest shooting star.
Yeah.
Oh, what I missed that.
Man, what? Oh,
it stayed there for a bit too.
Place is a prison.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on the sky as well. Yeah, that's the
pretty
amazing.
It's already worth it doing out here.
That's exactly right. So I'm going to do every podcast outside now.
Yeah, we were the first.
The original. This is yes. Hopefully that fire's the noise of that fire's coming through as well. Will be good. It's going well now. Brilliant. And obviously you've no barrel changes for you, Butters. You've just got a stack of them.
Yeah, no, just got the 3 barrels for the AX, and just got to get them working, I guess. Yeah. I think what I found with the 338 is I just needed to foul it in.
Yep.
So
that's it.
Hopefully I'll fiddle around with some loading tomorrow morning and see how that goes, and
Yeah, hopefully improves.
Might be a cheap AI barrel going soon.
It could be. Check it out and use guns. Yeah.
I'll sell it to Greg.
Right, what's the twist rate on it? That'll be the important question.
What is it?
1 to 9 point something retarded.
9.35.
Yeah, 9.35.
Yeah. Fast enough.
If you listen to the Hodnett podcast, you'll work out where that came from.
Yeah. I think that's where I got the explanation for it. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, nice.
They thought he was crazy.
Probably is.
Method.
I didn't know that. And so, what was I was going to ask you guys? Obviously, you're having run a few matches now and shot a few. What guys who are listening are perhaps getting into precision rifle, wanting to get into precision rifle? I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are of where they should spend their time, spend their money, and spend their effort into where are they going to get their results from relatively quickly, and what lessons you've learned that you pass on. I know it's a pretty generic sort of trashy question, but I think the answer is probably worthwhile.
Well, it'll cover a lot of people. I think what people really need to do is work with what they got and just shoot the crappers out of it and just really know where it's going to shoot at each range. Like before the PRI, all I did was work out where the bullet's going to hit at each range, and that's all I really did. Obviously, our practical rifle helped a lot.
Yeah, sure.
But I reckon, so if someone had nothing, all I would say is go and buy a 308 with a fairly standard barrel, somewhat heavy, and just put a somewhat okay sort of first focal plane scope on it, and just keep practicing with that. And like for instance, Josh up in NT, my workmate, he's got himself one of those SHVs.
Yep.
Night Force ones, so the 4 to 14 first focal plane.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's got that. He's waiting, and he's just waiting on a couple of little legislation things to see whether he can get a Ruger precision rifle, because he's really keen on one of them.
Don't blame him.
Yeah, but yeah,
biased.
Informed, not biased.
Oh, okay. That's the media spin these days, is it?
That's the first time we've ever been called media.
Ooh.
Anyway,
there you go.
Going up in the world.
But yeah,
I think that might be down. Anyway, sorry, bud. Let's carry on.
So, if the Ruger falls through, I've suggested to him a Tikka CTR. It's got a threaded barrel already, so you can put a muzzle brake on there if you choose to.
Yep.
Has the magazine system, and I'm not sure if it has a Picatinny rail for the.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, it's got
well,
scope. Yeah.
And it's being released in 6.5 Creed.
There you go, and basically.
Did you hear that? He just dropped something.
Sorry?
Dun, dun, dun.
What's Rusty's favourite caliber?
260.
Yeah.
Or 338 maybe. I don't know. Find out tomorrow, hey?
You might have to get a barrel off me.
I might. That might be a G. Then I just need a gun. Perfect.
But yeah, basically, get a standard first focal plane scope, some sort of 308. 308 because it is cheap and easy to reload for.
And there's heaps of match grade stuff available.
Yeah, you don't even
that you
have
can
to
buy.
reload for it.
You're going to get a lot of barrel life, a lot of practice out of it, and what you want to practice is simply just not necessarily shooting off a bipod off the concrete or off the grass at a target yay far away. Get in. Obviously, you want to do that for get your drop data. Make sure you calibrate all that.
Yep.
But you also want to just practice those positions where you may be on the bipod, but not necessarily in the prone position. Get on the back of the ute, shoot off the tray of the ute or the bonnet. Just practice standing up, different positions. Not necessarily offhand stuff. That is quite rare. I hope so far, for my sake.
You haven't seen Slinky Part 2.
Yeah, we've still got some time until this shoot butters. We can still bring out some bad ones.
Luckily, we're not shooting it.
Yeah, I'm too busy that weekend.
But yeah, you just practice your different positional shooting. Obviously, levels was a good one, where you're at, I think, 4 different
different positions to that one.
5 including the prone.
Including prone, yeah.
Yeah, just practice at different heights. And one thing you want to make a point of is when you're shooting those different positions. If you have more points of contact on anything, you're going to be more stable when you shot.
Yep.
So tuck your arms in, tuck them into your body, hold the barricade, hold the rifle as much as you can.
If you've got a bag.
If you've got a bag, use it. I don't use it.
Do as he says, not as he does.
Exactly. And what I found, say if you're shooting off a barricade, what I've found, if you have a light gun, lean into the barricade with the front of the rifle stock. Don't rest on your barrel, that's bad. But lean into the barricade, that'll help. But if you have a heavier gun, like, say, my AX, what I found is easiest to do is find the balance point and put that on the barricade, and all you're doing then is pointing the rifle. And then you want to hold the barricade and the rifle so it doesn't fly off when you fire that shot.
Yep.
But if you're just balancing that rifle on the barricade, you're not worried about holding it up and straining yourself. If you find yourself straining to hold the rifle in position,
you'll never be accurate.
Exactly right. You need to make yourself
need to be comfortable.
Yeah, very good. Anything else, or Bear? Anything from you, mate?
Well, it really comes down to how much experience someone's got with shooting in general. So I was probably a really bad example that I'd made the jump straight to 308. That's like the first rifle I bought was a 308.
Yep.
Thought, yep, sweet, 308. Shot it before, Dad had one. It's quite easily manageable. But I think I developed a lot of bad habits, just jumping straight to 308, trying to shoot when I don't think I had the basics down pat at that time. It took me to buy a new 22. It actually forced me to sit down and actually try and redevelop my own shooting technique and trigger control, and just a lot of really simple things that threw me off quite an early stage that were really just making that expensive noise downrange with the 308. I was getting inconsistent group sizes. I'd have days where I'm like, yep, sweet, I'm straight on target. The next day where it's, I haven't touched anything, I've come back to the same target, the same position, shot. And yeah, things haven't gone right. And, if I look back at these days, it's most likely I wasn't loading the bipod correctly. Incorrect parallax, inability to account for like the ammunition, so it may have been a different batch of ammo. So I'd suggest if someone hasn't done a lot of shooting, particularly with centerfires, maybe even look at a 223 option, or something it's going to be a lot cheaper. You can get 50 rounds for like $50 in some places, and it's always going to be a caliber. If it's not too big to go out hunting small varmints with, you can always go use it somewhere else. But it's going to be a very low impulse or low recoil cartridge, where
especially
you're going to be able
with
to
muzzle brake.
Yeah, or even without, man. To the point where you can fire, you can watch that fall shot quite easily, so you can start to see that you didn't load that bipod correctly. That round flew high. You could quite easily see that. Whereas if you're not used to shooting a heavy recoiling caliber, you've blown off target, and all of a sudden you're looking through that optic trying to find where you shot, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, was it just because I wasn't holding it properly and the round went high? Was it because I wasn't behind that gun properly and it recoiled me off target, leading to the missed shot? There is a lot of variables that come down to shooting, and the less of those that you can be assured of are affecting you, the more accurate you will become.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd really suggest small caliber and bulk rounds. Buy a reputable scope. You can go down to gun shop. Most guys will be able to tell you the bee's knees, but read around. Don't just take one person opinion on it. Look around, see what's really going. Buy once, cry once. The values the quality's still there long after the price is forgotten. So, not saying go out buy the latest Schmidt, the latest Premier optic. I'm saying go out there, buy something that is gonna. If you got rid of that rifle the next day, that scope could still serve on something else. It's not going to be a scope that's was sufficient for that rifle, but if you upgrade, it's automatically defunct.
Yep.
So
I agree with that one.
So yeah, a lot of rounds down range. Just as Butters was saying, practice position. So your point of impact will shift depending on your position. So what was maybe half MOA. From prone position, you start going to a kneeling position, even supported, and it starts blowing out to an inch and a half, even if it's maybe you're getting a couple of shots exactly where it was previously, but then you start getting these flies, high left, high right.
And not just even group size, your point of impact will change.
Yeah. So a good example for mine, I know when I'm shooting LF6 in the military, 200 metres, I always aim about 6 inches low and to the left on the 200 metre target to get me back on centre, and it's consistent. Like, it's one of the things, like, I've zeroed it from prone position. I know exactly it's hitting where in prone, but as soon as I come to that 200 metre target, I've got to offset, particularly from a sitting position. And I'd really suggest people look into a logbook. May seem a bit redundant these days given the amount of technology. However, today was a perfect example. My phone bricked and applied ballistics. Doesn't work too well when the phone won't go on. So I busted out the old notebook and paper and wrote down some good old dope today. But a logbook, real important, so you can record your shots, you can record your positions, and you can start to pick out those patterns yourself in your own shooting. Like, it's quite easy, you're sitting on the range, you fired a shot, and you're like, oh, that was high left, maybe it was just this, and then you readjust again, and you've shot, and it's gone the opposite way, and then you fire a few more shots, and then all of a sudden you start looking back, like, oh, wait a minute, what was that first shot? Was that because I did this, or was it because I did that? If you have a logbook, you can quite clearly track your shots and denote that, that was because I did this wrong, or I did that wrong. And it's also a good way to pull out those common errors, or those common or those unique traits of your particular rifle, because every rifle is different. Everyone's going to hold it different. But I really can't stress the importance that a logbook can still serve these days. Poor example, I'm still waiting for mine to turn up for the AW, but it will be done.
Yep, absolutely.
Probably one thing to add on is when you're firing a shot, don't look up and over the scope and look down range.
Yeah, you'll hear me stand behind you going gobble, 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 because, good old turkey shooters.
Yeah. Try as much as you can to follow through your shot. Try and look through that scope for as long as you can.
Butters dropped Mike, he's out.
He's gone.
Boosh.
That's it. No more comments like that.
Yeah, if you want to add one thing, you just got to follow through your shot after you shoot. Keep looking through that scope. Don't look up and over it.
Because, if you've just fired that shot, and if you don't see where it landed, you've just wasted the data that shot can potentially provide you for the next shot.
Yeah, it's as bad as a flinch.
Yeah, follow through is critical. Absolutely.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very good, guys. Well, I was going to ask you a couple more questions, but, really, I'm pretty keen to go and try and shoot some foxes. So if you guys are cool with that, we might load up the ute and head on out.
Don't have to ask me twice.
Nah, didn't think so. But as you look like you said you want to say something more. You haven't talked enough, mate.
I just want to allude at what we're going to shoot these foxes with. And it goes in line with the rifles we've been talking about tonight.
Right.
250 grains at about 2,950 feet per second.
Yep. That probably will drop them. Yeah, we got pretty tough foxes here in SA.
Yeah, I didn't really want to have to skid them by hand.
There's no such thing as overkill.
All right, well, guys, thanks heaps for taking a bit of time out around the fire and having a bit of a chat.
Thanks, Rusty.
And enjoy the rest of the trip. I'm sure we'll enjoy tomorrow. Enjoy your time around, and good luck in Victoria. Hopefully you don't win, Butters. And enjoy the time and get back to the NT safely, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in October.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics, advanced training for the precision shooter.